welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelsey, and today we're going to be diving into 10 rental home upgrades to make to your space in 2024. So this is something that you can obviously make in rental spaces, but if you own your home, these are also great, easy, affordable adjustments that you can make to your space to make it feel more homey, cozy, and just to feel like you live there. I have been loving decorating my rental apartments and then also this home that we are now renting to make it more of my space, more of my personality, and I'm so looking forward to sharing those tips and tricks with you today. There's 10 we're gonna walk through, and let's just go ahead and dive into the first one. Update your lighting. I think this is a popular one that we see a lot of social media home content creators share to do, is to take out a big piece of your lighting, especially like those boob lights and those chandeliers and things like that, and adding a touch of what you would like. There's a lot of great lighting options on Facebook Marketplace that you can buy and swap out. I would recommend hiring someone to help you do this swap if you are not familiar with it. This is an area that I actually am not usually as comfortable with. I usually opt for adding battery operated lighting to our home. I added it into our bedroom with one of those picture light features over our floor length mirror, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I think it really added to the space, and it adds a nice warmth, cozy vibe, and it was really easy to do as well. I also love the idea of adding sconces to your wall as well. It could be something around a mounted TV, it could be around another picture area, or it could just be an area that you need more light. And sconces are great because there are a lot of battery operated options, but there are options to also add puck lights into these, and that way you can use the remote and you don't need any wires to be added. That's another great way to add it throughout your home. And then just of course adding lamps and floor lighting everywhere. If you are in a space like me, I think the last 3 places I've lived, they haven't had lighting in the main living room area, and that's pretty typical. I feel like in the older, more historic spaces like homes and apartments, they don't usually have that overhead lighting. So adding a lot of floor lighting all over the place really adds that cozy vibe going, and it's a good chance to, even if you have that overhead lighting, to use that instead to bring warmth into your home, since the overhead lighting can be usually harsh on individuals and just softer in the eye to use lamps and your own choice of light bulbs. So I really love adding those details, and I really think those can add to the personality of the space as well. It's such a great decorative piece as well as being so highly functional. This is something that does take a lot of time to do. One custom detail that I've added in the last 2 places I've lived is adding a mantle. And these are surprisingly inexpensive to do if you just keep your eye again on Facebook Marketplace. I bought a mantle from there probably for around $20, $30, and I repainted it a little bit, gave it some touch up, got some tiles from Home Depot and laid those down on the floor, and now I have my own mantelpiece. This is something that whenever someone comes to my house, they are just always amazed by, and a lot of times it takes a minute for people to realize it was something that we added in and it's not actually a part of our home. I think adding a mantle can make such a great focal point, especially in areas that you are unsure of what to put there or to just make the center of the room. I love having a mantle, but you can also add other custom built-ins. You see a lot of people do the IKEA Billy bookcase hacks, which this is something I haven't personally done, but hopefully in the future. I think they look so great when you add that trimming detail. Maybe you paint it the same color as your wall and you just make it look like you had a built-in from the start. This is a way to add in that extra storage space without having it seem like it's just another random bookshelf placed in a room. The last custom detail that I would recommend in this area is adding wall molding. So this is something that has become so popular that you can just make peel and stick versions of this. I know Amazon does sell a peel and stick version, but you can also just buy the trimming details, get them cut at Home Depot, and add 3M command strips to the back of it. And that way it's a rental friendly hack. This is something that I'm definitely looking forward to introducing into my space this year, into my new home, and just make it feel a bit more decorative and more of my style. Window treatments. This is something I feel like everyone should do in their space, is adding curtains and adding the right curtains to your space as well, because in some areas it's great to have the longer curtains, of course, and make sure that you're adding beautiful curtain rods as well with it and putting it at a nice high height. But you can also add in smaller details, like in our kitchen we've added the cafe curtains, which has been really nice. You can add also in privacy curtains, which is really nice, and just adding in those extra details of the curtains really adds to the overall aesthetic of your home and makes the room seem larger when you're working with those longer curtains. And again, adds a privacy element as well for functioning too. I love curtains. That's probably my first thing that I do to a space, is make sure that there are curtains up and that is something that we can use in our home. A lot of times landlords will put in blinds too that aren't always the most beautiful to look at. So adding curtains, you can close up those blinds a lot of times, not have to look at them as much, and just use your curtains to close and hide shade. Peel and stick everything. This has been such a game changer for rental spaces because you can change up that flooring, you can change up the backsplash, add a backsplash, make different details in your home that you wouldn't have normally done. In one of my first rental apartments, I added the peel and stick backsplash because we had a very not great backsplash that was in that space. It was just one of those with the landlord special where they had painted over the tiles that were previously there and it could use a little something. So we added the peel and stick and they went on and came off so great. And so I would highly recommend those in any space. I've also seen a lot of cool detail lately with adding stained glass to your space. This is definitely something that I'm looking to do in the new year, is to add stained glass to different areas. This can be a great way to add privacy. I'm looking at adding this into our bathroom so that we can have that light coming in without having to worry about anyone seeing through our windows. And it's a great way to add just an extra detail to your windows. So that's one way that you can add one of those colorful stained glass areas, or you can just add the black and white detail as well. There's a lot of great options on Amazon. I'll also have everything linked down below if you do want to check it out in a home folder. But I would highly recommend that. It's super easy way to add it. And again, another way that you can add that to remove. My background is in graphic design, so I'm obsessed with just different art pieces, artwork, and just any details along the way. I've been finding a lot of great framed art pieces at estate sales. That's my favorite place to shop for these, but you can also find them on Facebook Marketplace, which is really great. Or when I'm out on trips as well, I like to find different prints and add them to frames to get them up on our wall. I think adding art to your wall really, really helps your space. It again makes there be focal points in your room. It adds a personality to your space depending on how you choose to do your art. You could do a simple mix and match gallery wall with beautiful different frames. You could do a classic traditional gallery wall with maybe more of those family and friends pictures within it. And you can also just put up pictures alone by themselves too and have that little detail of a vintage touch of a frame throughout your space. I cannot wait to hang up more pieces in our home because we are still fairly new in the space. So I'm really, really, really looking forward to adding art onto the walls and getting settled a little bit more in the space. Adding mirrors to your home makes your space just overall feel bigger. This is especially great if maybe you are in a smaller apartment, maybe you're in a studio apartment, but adding mirrors really helps to, again, reflect off the light, bounce it around the room, and make the space seem larger and more overall cozy as well. And it's just great to have throughout your home too. I have multiple mirrors throughout my space, and some I just lean against the wall and use as more of a decorative element. Some we hang up on the wall, and some are just floor pieces as well that are very functional yet are decorative too. I also like to switch out my mirrors in the bathroom if possible. That's a great way to add more of a custom detail, change out those builder grade basic mirrors and add one that has a little bit more of your personality or touch to it. You know how to cover your ugly flooring. Okay, so we all know in your rental space, you don't always get to pick the flooring, but you can add really great giant rugs to your space. And again, that also helps it overall feel more cozy and warm and inviting. So I really love to shop for rugs and make sure I find ones that match my space and are also the appropriate sizing. Sizing for rugs can be difficult, but I think it's just really great if you can find one that's large enough to cover your space and ones that also work with the furniture that will be in that layout. A lot of times I lay out my rooms and I also then measure how much I would want my rug to be in the space, which is really great. You can also layer rugs. So say you bought a really big one and you bought a smaller one, and working those two together can help define an area. Just overall, rugs really help define a space. Say you have a really long room that you want a dining room and a living area in, you can use rugs to create those different elements and make it feel like two separate rooms within one space. This is one that is super easy to do and adds that custom detail. So say there's maybe silver hardware, but you would like to opt for more of a brassy vintage finish. Adding that detailed hardware will make your space feel more personalized and have those little detailed touches that really add to the overall space. I have done this multiple times where I switched out the hardware and it's been really great to just see, and it's a super easy transition that you can just have done and completed right away. It's also a great way if you want to add maybe a small custom one in the bathroom that is more relevant to your personality or is more decorative as well and makes the overall space seem a bit more custom and just along with your overall vibe and look of the whole home. Mounting TVs goes along hand in hand with adding artwork to your wall. Getting those TVs up on the wall makes the space feel a little bit more finished, elegant, and just overall has a bit more balance on the overall console of the space. I know it's more of a hefty task to get a TV mounted, but having that breakup between the console table or entertainment system underneath your TV really adds to an overall look and feel to make it feel more custom and more like a home and less like your TV is just placed. Lastly, add hidden storage. So when you're in a rental, I feel like a lot of times you just don't have enough space and you could use more. I like to use different cabinetry and sideboard tables, console tables, things like that throughout my space. I like to add elements of this like behind our sofa so that we have another layer of storage that way, as our big entry table, as desks and dens, and just adding baskets throughout the rooms as well so that you have a place to put things as you're cleaning up, and also make things just overall feel a little less cluttered by having them being able to stow away and put away, and everything has a home for itself. That's the 10 ways I would and I will be improving my space with the new year, throughout the year, and just making this house feel like a home. I want to remind you too that things take so much time, so don't feel like you have to do this instantly when you're moving into a space or you want to get all these tips done so quickly. Making your space work for you and getting the right furniture and things like that takes a lot of time. I feel like our previous apartment, I had just finished getting it where I wanted it to be, and that's when we moved out of it. So a lot of times it just takes it day by day and just maybe room by room. That's how I like to work, is starting with one room and seeing how we can make it best work for us and our overall space. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe. I would love to have you around, and I would love to hear from you. Comment down below what room you are working on first in the new year and just what room you're inspired to work on from this video. I can't wait to share more room makeovers to come. We have so many that will be here so soon throughout the year, and just more rental tips and tricks along the way. All right, thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you so soon.